Hey, it's James from Learn Logic Pro. We're going to look at some new aspects of Logic Pro 8 today. This is a free video I'm placing out on YouTube just to let everyone see some of the new features of Logic Pro 8. So first we're going to open up a software instrument. I'm going to pull 4 of them up. And once it's created, let's go ahead and look at the sampler in the Exs24. Now the cool new aspect of the Exs24 is total drag and drop sampling. In the old days you had to create a zone and you had to place the sample within these zone points, and with further updates it became easier and easier to do this, but still it was not great. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at exactly how to add samples into the Exs24 and create instruments. Let's have a look at that. So first, with the Exs24 open, let's click the edit button. And with the edit button open, you see the piano roll. Now simply, you can drag samples into this area. So let's look at first dragging an Apple loop in. So I'm just going to grab any of the Apple loops, and you simply drag that loop into this area, and now you have the actual sample playback. So as you see, it's much easier to add samples. If you added multiple samples, say for instance, let's bring some in here. You get the classic option of making continuous zones or auto mapping or doing drum zoning. But here with the continuous zones, you get the zone width. You can tell exactly how many notes each sample and where the start zone is. When you click OK, if you have multiple samples in there, it will actually layer them. And you can layer them based on velocity and have multiple samples in multiple velocity ranges. But as you can see, I also drag the samples right out of this arrange window right in. But you can add samples from the bin. You can add them from the browser right out of the audio window. So for instance, if I went into, let's see if I can find a folder with some audio files. So we can come into, say for instance, in some files in here, these Apple loops. You just simply drag these loops right in, and now it's a sample in there. You can adjust these zones by simply clicking on them and dragging either side or moving them around the piano roll. Now when you close this, the beautiful part is, first of all, before you close it, is it actually is now playable through your MIDI controller. It's all real time, so you get that instant gratification. Now as soon as you want to close this temporary file will want to be saved. And we're going to go ahead and save this. And it brings up the sample instruments folder, which is going to be in the particular hard drive. So I could name this Lesson Exs24 Sampling. You could even make a subfolder for it, say Lessons, and put that in that folder. And these samples are now available right in here, Lessons Exs24, or if you go to the library, you'll find the Lessons folder and then the Lessons Exs24. So again, drag and drop samples into the Exs24 has really changed the dynamics of being able to, on the fly, really enjoy sampling and resampling. Once these parts are in the timeline, you can edit them here before you put them into the sampler, or you can edit them in the sampler. Editing in the sampler, which we'll review, is done through this area. And as you slide over, you can find an end point and a start point, pitch, reversing. So you can do some innovative tricks with the actual sampler and sample once it's inside the timeline. And that's sampling on the Exs24. I hope you enjoy.